Welcome to the northeast of England. If you're joining me for the first time, hi, I'm Caroline and I'm spending a week adventuring around the area in the UK that I grew up in. So far, I've hiked to a range of waterfalls in the North Pennines, learned about the northeast's Roman and Roman-inspired history visiting the likes of Vindolanda, Arbea and Pencha Monument. I've explored the wonderful gardens in Alnwick as well as a cheeky stop off at the town's bar to books, and taken in the National Trusts and English heritage sites such as the colossal Cragside in Northumberland, Souter Lighthouse on the edge of South Shields, and Finkel Abbey in County Durham. Today, my partner Andy will be joining me as we head into Tynemouth. Today we've popped along to Tynemouth, which is a rather well-to-do town right on the coast that is just on the outskirts of Newcastle. I really love Tynemouth. I've been here several times in the past, and there is a lovely market on the weekend which is actually in the Tynemouth metro station. So what's really cool is that as you're going around all of the different market stalls, you've got trains just coming and going at the same time, giving it quite an unusual flair. The streets around here are stunning, really beautiful old architecture, but they've been really well cared for and they've got gorgeous gardens, so just walking around the streets around here is really nice as well. But the main reason why we've come is that we've come along to Riley's Fish Shack for some lunch. So we're starting off with some small plates. Now I've gone for the ceviche. The fish is a halibut, and my understanding is that it's completely raw. I have never had ceviche before, and I believe that it originates from Peru, which again I've never been to. And looking at this, I can see that there's definitely some sprinkled coriander on there. There's sprinkled sesame seeds and chili. We've got some bits of corn from Corn on the Cob, and then I don't want to say that this is orange. I think it must be a smaller version of like a tangerine or a clementine or something. There's some oil in there. It looks to me like it's probably olive oil, and then we've got flatbreads as well, like a seeded flatbread. And the presentation looks amazing. I obviously do not have a ceviche that I can compare this to because it's the first time I'm ever trying it. That is delicious. The orange really complements it nicely, but it's not dry at all. The bread's really dry, and it, I suppose, just helps to sort of soak up the amount of liquid that you're getting from the oil, and the fact that the fish is raw and you've got a lot of liquid in the orange, and everything just complements one another gorgeously. I didn't really get much of a chili kick, but I'm not too sure if maybe that's because I had the edge piece maybe as I go through, because it looks to have a bit more chili as we go through on the plate. But oh, I'm a fan of ceviche. I would more than happily have this again in the future. After having devoured most of the plate, I'm now starting to wonder if you're actually supposed to put the ceviche on top of the flatbread, given how rock solid it is. I guess it's to kind of hold it and just for the liquid part of it, not to make it fall apart like you would with bread. I would have thought it was one of these things. I should have watched a YouTube video on how to correctly eat ceviche before actually ordering it, but this seems to be working quite well, and I don't care, it's too yummy. I'm going to start with the monkfish skewer and the curry sauce. Again, I can see lots of coriander in there. Just try and get some onion up onto that. Oh wow, that's great. I mean, monkfish, I always think of it as being a meatier fish, but even though it is quite chunky and it is quite meaty, it's still super tender. It's just flaked straight off of the skewer, and I can really taste the spicy kick of the tandoori curry. And it's kind of creamy. I mean, I can see that there's yogurt a little bit further along, but I didn't scoop up any of the yogurt in that, but it's got really nice creamy, sweet but spicy tang to it. And I think if I start marrying it up with some of the rice or the flatbread next, let's tear into some of this flatbread. I know this is not the correct way to do it. If you're using flatbread or eating flatbread, you should be using that like a utensil, but I tend to get very messy. I'm probably still going to get messy even doing it this way around. Oh, that flatbread is lovely as well. That is cooked to perfection. I say it's a flatbread, I'm pretty sure it's actually a naan. And sometimes you can find it either a little bit overcooked, where it's got like a bit of burnt on the bottom of it, or it's maybe a little bit too doughy because it's been undercooked, but this is perfect. It goes really, really well together with the curry. Let's just dip into a little bit of the yogurt. Oh, amazing. But yeah, I can't eat these kinds of dishes without getting completely messy with it. Thankfully, the waitstaff have brought plenty of serviettes for me. Up next is going to be the grilled corn elote. I have no idea where it's from either. This is the kind of food that I would associate with being like Southwest American, and it's been grilled on a barbecue. And we can see the barbecue flames up there where they're making it all. Normally, I do my corn boiled in water, and when we were in Cornwall earlier on this summer, I actually ended up grilling some on the barbecue for the first time, and it was delicious. So I'm really looking forward to this, just for a bit of a smoky flavour and a smoky kick. Now, this stuff is not pretty to watch eating, but here goes. That's nice. That's also got a bit of a spicy hot kick to it, and you can really taste like the charredness of the corn. I'm not too sure what the white sauce is. I don't know if that's like a yogurty sauce, but I definitely feel like that's needed because this is really starting to get hot and heat up. I'd say hotter than the curry, but it's delicious. I would be more than happy to go through all of this. Whilst I went with the corn on the cob for a side dish, Andy ended up going with the Tenderstem broccoli, which has got like a sesame dressing and cashew nuts. And as always, when it comes to the side dishes, we do tend to sort of swap and change. So I'm going to dig into this now.
Just go for it.
I think maybe best to do with the fingers. It's just been sat in that sauce, and I think it's just sucked it up. And the sauce just makes that amazing. I mean, I really do like Tenderstem broccoli, but yeah, it's like a nutty but creamy, a little bit sweet sauce to it. And then the Tenderstem broccoli is not overdone too much, and I think that's probably the other thing, because it wasn't fully cooked. When it's had additional liquid put onto it, it's just kind of soaked it up. Yeah, I'm really pleased that I didn't dig into this to begin with, and that I've let it sit for a little while. And whilst it wasn't a side that Andy ordered, another thing that his dish came with was the mixed side. And it's got a whole load of, I'm going to be honest, green, healthy looking things, and I am so stuffed. I'm going a little bit easy here, but I do want to try a little bit of most things. But there is what they describe as being hot plate potatoes. And there's aioli, which I've always understood to be like mayonnaise, but with garlic mixed into it. So I'm just going to try one of these potatoes dipped into the aioli. So it looks a little bit like this. Oh, I'm normally a big fan of mayonnaise and aioli, and I have to really pare back on it because I know it's not great for you, but there's an overwhelming taste of egg yolk in this one. Now, it might just be that my palate isn't as refined and sophisticated, and I should actually be enjoying the fact that it's very egg yolky, but personally, I am not the biggest fan. I'm going to try another potato, and this time I'm not going to dip it into the aioli and just see what the potatoes are like. Oh, potatoes are great though. Just the right amount of oil, not too oily that you can really feel it in your mouth, but also not like really, really dry. I mean, when they say hot plate potatoes, I'm assuming it's like a hot plate that they've then fried them on. It's nice. I don't know. All of the other food has just been so beautiful and so on point and so enjoyable, and you can really understand why they charge the prices that they do. It does really make me wonder if maybe it's just me being a bit of a fussy eater, not really enjoying the aioli. We only had the deck chairs at Riley's for 2 hours, and that's just the way in which things are working at the moment during COVID times. Originally it used to be that you would stand in a really long line to place your order, I suppose a little bit like McDonald's, although likening it to McDonald's almost seems a little bit insulting, but the idea was you would go and collect it from the counter and then you would just go down to the beach yourself. But I think that this new system of table service has drastically improved it, and whilst obviously the bill came, it was not cheap. The level of the quality of the food was just brilliant, and I think that in comparison to some cheaper restaurants that we've tried this summer where we've left being sorely disappointed, it was well worth the money. Tynemouth has got an old Lido just on the next beach up from where Riley's Fish Shack is, and at the moment it's looking very dilapidated and definitely wouldn't get used, but there's been a really big community drive to raise funds to get it restored. In 2025 it will be the 100-year anniversary, and people are really hopeful that they will have it restored because they'll have raised enough money, they'll have had the planning permission from the council to have it all up and running for that 100-year anniversary. A few years ago when I was down here, I think I was just kind of taking it all in because it's really beautiful right at the very top end of a very, very long stretch of sandy beach that's got things like surf schools and volleyball courts and plenty of room for people to be sunbathing and what have you. I think I was just stood here taking it all in, and a family came walking through, and the dad kind of semi-jokingly, but also I was like, is he being serious? And he was saying to his family, look guys, look, there's Barack Obama in the pool. And after they then moved on, I thought to myself, was he being serious or was he joking? And I went over and I studied it a little bit, and yes, the artists who've come up with this drawing of what they're hoping the Lido will look like when it's been fully restored decided to take a photograph of Barack Obama and his daughter Sasha when they were holidaying in Florida back in 2010, and have gone and photoshopped it into the Lido pool here at Tynemouth. And I'm not entirely sure, I'm looking around and I think, as well as Barack Obama and his daughter Sasha being there, I do wonder if that one might be Michael Phillips as well, but I don't know, what do you guys think? So we're heading back to the car now. We were parked on the other side of the train station and we've come back into the market. We were eyeing up all of the stores this morning, and I was definitely drawn to these amazing cupcakes. We ran out of time for dessert at Riley's, so I picked up a Lotus Biscoff cupcake and Andy's gone with the classic vanilla. I couldn't eat a single thing now, but this is certainly going to come in useful much later on today when I'm sure I start getting the tummy rumbles again. Upon trying to pay for the cupcakes at the train station's market, we realised that someone had forgotten his wallet.
It wasn't me.
And where was your wallet?
In the car.
Hidden?
No.
It was just down at the side, and I obviously started off today's video talking about how this is a really, really lovely area, and I was saying if it is in the car, I sincerely hope that the area does actually live up to its expectations, and yes, thankfully no one had smashed into the car even though someone's wallet was unshine. But we are now making quite a geographical change, so even though we're in the northeast of England at the moment, we are about to set off driving across the country, which doesn't take too long because it's very, very narrow up here, and we're going to be driving pretty much along Hadrian's Wall. So we're going to stop off Hadrian's Wall. We are going to do Sycamore Gap. We are going to do Sycamore Gap, and then that is because tonight we have got a cottage, an Airbnb.
Yeah, sure.
we've got an Airbnb cottage booked over in the Lake District, and we are going to be there for a whole week. So even though it might seem like we're jumping places, it is because we do have a week of adventures in the Lake District coming up. We've been driving along the
A69.
How long would you say it's taken?
About an hour.
We've now stopped off where the Once Brewed Backpackers Hostel is, and the Twice Brewed pub. What does my dad say it's called Twice Brewed for?
Oh, I can't remember. because the first brew was horrible or something like that.
Yes, I had to brew it again and then it tasted a little bit better. This is where we have got a footpath leading us up to Hadrian's Wall. We're going to go for a short walk, hopefully, to find the tree at Sycamore Gap. It's a really short walk from where we parked the car at the visitor centre along to Sycamore Gap, and just coming up onto this mound here you can just see slightly off in the distance the roofs of the pub and the Youth Hostel Association in comparison to obviously where I am at the moment. Yes, it is along grassy and rocky terrain, but it's not like you need to be full on hiking. Heck, I've come out in a pair of jeans and just some casual trainers. Getting to the actual Sycamore Gap, it is gorgeous. It definitely lives up to what the pictures tend to depict it as looking like. I know sometimes these places can look a lot better on Instagram, and then when you turn up they're a bit of a letdown, but one of the things that's really frustrating is when we arrived, a group of 3 people have just sat down for a picnic right in front of the tree, and I don't know whether I'm just being a little bit of a spoiled brat and being frustrated by that, but just given that it's such a popular photographic place for landscape photographers, I don't know, part of me feels just a little bit frustrated that they didn't have the foresight to think maybe we should move off to one side to maybe sit down, because a lot of people are going to be wanting to take photographs that we perhaps shouldn't be in. I don't know, maybe they want to be in people's photographs, but I don't know, let me know in the comments. Do you think I'm being unreasonable? Do you think I'm being a little bit spoiled? Or do you think that that is okay? People seem to be going. So I think the saying goes, patience is a virtue and all good things come to those who wait, and we have waited it out. People have now dispersed, and those who are around I think are just being a little bit more respectful of the fact that everyone wants to get a shot and no one's going and plonking themselves in front of the tree, and it's really quite spectacular. It was a short but very sweet visit to Sycamore Gap. We eventually got the photographs that we wanted to, and so we've doubled back now, heading back towards the car, because we've got about another 50 minutes drive to get to Skelton, which is a village that we're staying in just north of the national park, and we also need to go and do a supermarket shop so that we've got plenty of food to see us through the week. So heading back to the car now. The sun is giving this gorgeous glow at the moment, and I'm really surprised. Steps and rocks and stuff, bear with me. I am really surprised actually by just how few people there are here, and I guess it's probably because we spent the first couple of weeks of the summer in Devon and Cornwall and it was just heaving there, but the northeast just seems to be blessed with far less tourists.